toxic globs of radnox, radioactive spheres of calcium, even the explosive murine clusters can all be harvested, but not Omegon. Omegon is one of those very rare elements that simply cannot be harvested and is nowhere to be found to be harvested. So you have to search. First, before we go on this quest, I'd like to take a little trip down memory lane. This trading post is on my home planet in the Hilbert dimension. That's my old starship. I had a routine back then where every day, either at the beginning of the day or the end of the day, I'd go to my trading post before returning to my base and buy as much as much Omegon as I could. Yes, there it is on my home trading post, 42 available every day. And I stocked up. I became very spoiled. Now you have to search. The best advice I could find said search starships. The crashed ones would have weaponry that you could deconstruct and harvest the Omegon. You would think the fighter ships would have it. Even this B-class ship with more slots didn't have weaponry of any value to harvest Omegon. This A-class ship even didn't have weaponry of any higher grade than the Sigma or number 1, and that does not produce any Omegon. Even the biggest crashed ships, this huge hauler, didn't have any weaponry above the Sigma grade. So if this was a resource in the past, it is no more, so don't waste your time. I was down to the very last. I had 11 Omegon left, so I had to search. And I searched a long time before I found this system, and I renamed the little planet Omegon Wassa because I found Omegon there at a trading post. 47. Now I always buy 2 less than what's available so that I can return and the slot will be replenished. But I was beside myself to finally, after weeks and I think even months of searching for Omegon, but to make this work I'd have to return. While I was waiting, I found another starship where the pilot was selling Omegon. My great luck, I bought Omegon from him as well. This was turning out to be a very worthwhile find. I had to find a way, though, to make return trips and collect more while I had this opportunity, since it comes so few and far between. I called my freighter, and once again I put my starship collection to work. I took each one of my starships out one by one and returned to the trading post on planet and bought more. After 2 trips on 2 different days, my home storage of Omegon had gone up to 707. Now, just 1 week later, I found another planet with Omegon. I again named it Omegon, and this time I just happened to be near the end of the day and found a signal beacon, which I thought, well, I'll follow this to an outpost and just check. These outposts or trading posts on planets are usually where, if you're going to find Omegon available to purchase, this is where you'll find it. And to my surprise, this little outpost on this little planet, 1 week later, more Omegon. Now, there was less quantity. There's only 38 available at each time. So, you know my rule, I always buy 2 less, so the quantity will refresh. So, each trip I could collect 36 Omegons. So, once again, I set in motion my plan, and this little geck didn't seem to mind. I set up a signal beacon so that I could return to this spot where the trading post is, the outpost, and I'd called my freighter. This is really the way to make this work. Once you find a trading post or an outpost that has Omegon available, you can make separate trips back in the same ship, but you have to allow a lot of time to elapse between before the item Omegon will replenish and be available for purchase again. But if you have a starship collection on your freighter, you can make it work. By the end of the day, I'd collected another little over 200 and had over 800 in my home base. But I made one more trip the next day and collected another 218 to take home. Now, before I left this little planet where I found more Omegon, I had one more little surprise. I found one vortex cube and no sentinel attack. It was quite a treat, a real bonus. So the grand total after my Omegon quest was resulting in my storage slot overflowing.